real quick, before we get into this, let me ask you a question. Have you been trying to start something, whether it's a business, maybe it's a social media channel, a service, it doesn't matter. Something that signifies a life changing moment or a next chapter of sorts. Something you actually know how to do, but you keep not doing it. And when you ask yourself about it, you give yourself these run of the mill answers. I'm just not feeling ready. I need to gather some more information. Or you might go the complete opposite and just stop asking yourself because you already know where it's going to lead to. Well, here's what I want to offer you today. I want you to stop thinking of it as a preparation problem. Maybe it's a visibility problem and not in the way that you might think. The woman that I'm talking to today, she is far from lazy. She is far from hiding because she doesn't believe in herself. Now, given she might be hiding because maybe in the past, putting herself out there, being seen, started to feel like it was costing more than what she was willing to pay. I think that is worth talking about today. And let me say this up front. If you are someone whose faith guides their moves through life, this is the conversation that was made with you in mind. Because the tension between wanting to contribute and also wanting to stay grounded is very real. And it's something that I don't think is talked about enough, which is why we're going to talk about it today. See, you can genuinely want to contribute something to the world and also genuinely not want your whole life on display. The two things can be true at the same time. For a lot of women, especially if you have contributed most of your life in the service of others, it can be a paralyzing situation. From the outside, it looks like fear. But on the inside, you're thinking self-preservation. Let's be honest, you've seen what can happen when women put themselves out there. There's the criticism, the misunderstanding, the misreading, people who take what you have said and decide what you meant from it. The expectations that come when you all of a sudden become visible and then people think that they have access to you. And let's just say you're a person who already carries a lot for your family, your workplace, maybe your community. The idea of adding more to that plate is just very uninspiring. It's exhausting before you even start. So what do? You don't. Or you start and then you stop. Then you wonder what's wrong with you because you stopped and you can't figure out why you can't finish things. But the reality, nothing is wrong with you. Being seen seems a little different if you have been responsible for how other people feel. When the attention is always now on you, there's always going to be an ask that's attached to it. When showing up has always meant showing up for someone else. Of course, visibility is going to seem heavy. With all of that, you've never really gotten to experience it as yours alone and not its attachment to one of the labels that you have or one of the roles that you serve. And because of that, let me ask you something. Think back, not necessarily to your childhood, but just in history, your history in general. When people noticed you, when attention came your way, what usually followed? For a lot of us, it wasn't about a celebration. It was more so about an ask for something. If someone realizes that you're capable, now they realize that, at least in their mind, that you are available for something that should benefit them. Can you handle this? Can you take this on? We need someone like you for this job, for this project. And most times you did it. Why not? You are a capable person and you might have even looked at it as a plus. Wow, they really value what's going on with me and what I bring to the table, all of that. You're good at things, you care about others, and oftentimes saying no meant that you might let someone down, and that didn't feel good. But over time, here's what happened, whether you knew it or not. Your brain started associating the visibility with responsibility. Visibility, responsibility. The more I put myself out there, the more someone's going to ask something of me. So now being seen becomes a trigger, and not a trigger for recognition or appreciation. Nope. It was more so about what's about to be asked of you. When the idea of building something new starts bringing in the attention toward you, something deep down inside makes you pull back. Not because you don't want to do it, because some part of you is already tired of what comes after. And bottom line, I'm not talking about a weakness. So don't consider it a weakness. We're identifying some things right now. One thing it might indicate is that you're a woman that has been giving of yourself for a while now. So let's reframe our thinking and stay away from the negative ideas of a weakness or some sort of deficit. I want to talk about preparation because I believe a lot of us are here, and when it's happening, we're not aware that it's actually happening. Now, I'm a proponent for preparation. Definitely, that's one of my things. Preparation is legitimate. I'm not here to tell you that you haven't done enough or that you're overthinking. Been there, done that, we're recovering. Some seasons genuinely require multi-layers of gathering information, getting quiet, and really discerning, the next move. That's wisdom. That's not a weakness. There is a version of preparation that is doing something entirely different, and we need to acknowledge it. It's when the research never ends, because when the research ends, then that means we need to actually make a move. It's maybe the course you started, but you didn't finish, because when you finish, you're going to feel the guilt of having to actually implement what you learned in the course. So it's just there on the desktop or somewhere, one of those little pin tabs you have. Or it might be a plan that you keep refining and critiquing and making it better and better, because you feel that it'll be a safer launch for you than putting something out there that isn't perfect. God forbid. Preparation does help you move forward, but hiding behind preparation is doing the opposite. Hiding keeps you protected from being evaluated by yourself and others, honestly. And here are some ways that hiding through preparation costs you that maybe you haven't heard before, or maybe you haven't heard lately. It keeps you busy enough so that you feel productive, but it also gives you this pseudo safe feeling so that you feel like you're not going to be judged. And so then over time, it just naturally feels like those are the steps that you take. I'm going to do this preparation, and then eventually, the eventually part, you're waiting. You forget that you're actually waiting. So in all of that busyness, you're actually not moving forward. It starts to feel like this is just how long things are. Like this is normal. It's a normal process. But in reality, it's not your actual pace. It's just your protection. See that? But it doesn't tackle the underlying situation. But let's slow down and take a step back, because I'm not just saying just start. In some instances, that might be appropriate, but not always. We have real responsibilities and real risks involved. So just willy-nilly saying, just start, I get it. But let's be realistic with our actual lives, okay? So there's a difference between not being ready and then not being willing to be evaluated or judged. Two different things. And only you know which one is true of where you are right now. That might bring you to ask, what does visibility that doesn't cost me myself actually look like? How will it appear in my life? And in my opinion, it doesn't look the same for every woman. I think that you get to define what being seen means to you. Your life situation is not like my life situation, like the other person's situation. So we should be able to fashion something that matches our circumstances. Maybe sharing what you know in a format that suits your life presently. For example, if you're doing social media something, it doesn't mean you have to be on every platform. It doesn't mean you have to put yourself out there every day. You get to choose how you present yourself consistently and in a way that's sustainable for you. Maybe you find that mentoring makes more sense for you. Teaching in spaces where the relationship comes first before an audience. Or if you have a service business or a product business that lets your actual work speak for you. The point is not to become visible to everyone, but to become visible to or available to your target audience, the people that you are meant to service, the people that you are meant to reach. The gifts you were given were not given to you to be managed behind a safety net forever. If they were truly given to you as gifts, you were to find who they were supposed to reach, and you give forth in that manner. What you carry is what we call an amana, or a trust, and that trust has a destination. And sometimes honoring that trust or amana means releasing it imperfectly. As much as our internal, fight of perfectionism wants to rear itself, sometimes you just have to let it go, even if it's just to one person at a time. It's okay. Who says it's not? Visibility without self abandonment means you know why you're showing up, you know who you're showing up for, and you build in a way that is sustainable without swallowing you up whole to disappearing. And that's not a performance. That's not you putting on a show. That's you being faithful with what you were given. Okay, so what I want you to remember is that your hesitation hasn't or feeling of being stuck, it's never been about you being lazy or you not believing in yourself. You've been protecting something in the best way you knew how. Whether it was your peace, your sense of self, or your value. That protection made sense for that time period. And it was a wise thing for you to do. But now I want to ask you, what if the next chapter isn't asking you to become someone different? What if it's just asking you to finally take up this space that God created for you to step into? A space you've already earned. Thank you again. Please subscribe and see you in the next one.